AWS Direct Connect is the AWS solution for establishing dedicated network connections from on-premise locations to AWS. And we have this beautiful diagram to show what that connection looks like. And the whole point of Direct Connect is for establishing very fast network connection options. And we have two options here, a lower bandwidth option with 50 megabytes per second up to 500 megabytes per second. I'm saying megabytes per second. I think it's megabits per second. Sorry, I'm not from an IT networking background, so my networking knowledge is never top of mind here, but I'll do my best to get us through this here. We have higher bandwidth, so we have 1 gigabits per second, 10 gigabits per second, and 100 gigabits per second. I didn't even realize it got up to 100 gigabits, which last time there was only 1 and 10, so clearly we've seen an increase here. The whole point of AWS Direct Connect is to help reduce network costs, increase bandwidth throughput, great for high traffic networks, provides a more consistent network experience than a typical internet-based connection. So if you need reliability and security because you're running extremely latency sensitive workloads, then this could matter to you. Of course, this is an enterprise solution, so expect to pay enterprise costs to use it. And it's actually kind of hard to learn because unless you are working with an enterprise, I'm not sure how you would get hands-on experience utilizing this. So understand that we're doing everything from a theoretical perspective, okay? So for connection requirements, your network is co-located with an existing AWS Direct Connect location. You're working with an AWS Direct Connect partner who is a member of the AWS Partner Network, or also known as the APN. You are working with an independent service provider to connect to the AWS Direct Connect. If you're not familiar with the word co-located, that's talking about basically a data center that you are renting space bandwidth from. People that want to have private cloud networks or their own private cloud, they often will use a co-location because then they don't have to worry about the infrastructure and the folks. They just pay for the stuff and rent it. We have network requirements. So this is going to be dependent on how much throughput you need, but you'll see we have 1 gigabit, 10 gigabits, and 100 gigabits. And there's this really cool looking thing, and then the cord goes into there. Again, not from an IT networking background, so this all looks like spaghetti to me, but it makes sense in terms of how that would work. The idea is you have to auto-negotiate for a port auto-negotiation for a port must be disabled for a connection with a port speed of more than 1 gigabit per second. For 1 gigabit per second speed, auto-negotiate may or may not need to be disabled. You might need to have this 802.1q VLAN encapsulation to be supported across the entire connection, including intermediate devices. Your device must support BGP and BGP MD5 authentication. You can optionally configure bidirectional forward direction BFD on your network. I'm just including these little things in here for the IT networking folk. This is not going to show up on your exam, or if it is, it'd only be for the advanced networking certification. But understand, for me, again, a lot of this just looks like spaghetti, so it is what it is. For Direct Connect, it supports both IPv4 and IPv6, an Ethernet frame size of 1522 or 9023 bytes, and that's kind of the breakdown of the bytes. So, if you want to know, there it is. For Direct Connect maintenance, AWS will periodically perform maintenance on the hardware fleet. There are two types of maintenance: planned. So the idea here is that they scheduled in advance to improve the availability and delivery of the new features. They have 3 notifications that are provided at a 1, 5, and 10 calendar days advance. So you are very certain to know of a planned outage. There's emergency. This is just when something goes wrong, as they say, due to unexpected failure. For impacted customers, they are notified 60 minutes prior to maintenance. How good AWS is with that level of support, I don't know, but I hope at the enterprise level they stick to that as best they can. There are 3 factors to pricing. The first is capacity. That's the port size. So this is the maximum rate the data can be transferred through the network connection. The larger the port size, the greater the cost. So you can see that we go from here all the way up, and I assume the 100 gigabits per second would be on there as well. There is the port hours. So this is for the amount of Direct Connect port is provisioned for, regardless of the data transfer. We have 2 connection types. We have dedicated and hosted. I don't know why. Usually my animations will do this per bullet point, but I guess I just didn't set the animation right here. But for dedicated, this is for physical connections between your network port and an AWS network port, and this is billed per hour. Then you have a hosted, which is, you get all this stuff on the screen here. Hosted, which is logical connections between AWS partner and the AWS network port. Billing is subject to the AWS Direct Connect delivery partner. So if you're working directly with AWS, it seems like it's a lot more straightforward. If it's not with AWS and a partner, billing is going to be variable. The last one is data transfer out. This is charged based on the outbound traffic sent to Direct Connect to destinations outside of AWS. And data transfer into the network is free. Data transfer within the same region will not result in a cost, because sometimes it can. In terms of what you should know about Direct Connect, well, definitely know that about the pricing factors. This one could show up on your exam. All the other particular networking details, not so much. But just understand its purpose, its delivery, and the amount of gigabits per second it can deliver, okay?